Welcome to the Higher Power Podcast, presented by Higher Power Sports PT, the show dedicated to helping active individuals like you unlock your full potential through expert insights on injury prevention, performance enhancement, and recovery. Kurt Kessler is a board-certified specialist in sports physical therapy and an athletic trainer. In each episode, he and his guests bring you the latest evidence-based strategies to help you move better, feel stronger, and stay injury-free. Let's learn together.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Higher Powered Podcast. Today, I'm going to kick off a little crossover series today between the Higher Powered Podcast and Faith and Practice. The series is going to focus on the question, do you want to feel better or get better? I was originally planning on combining them into one crossover episode, but when I started planning them, they were really focused on different things and made for a cleaner show to split them up. So to start, let me ask you a question. Do you want to feel better or do you want to get better? Because those are not the same thing. And in sports medicine, we have confused them for years. Most people say that they want to get better, but what they actually pursue is getting out of pain. And once the pain drops to a tolerable level, they stop. They go back to their sport, and 6 weeks later, they're right back where they started. Here's what I mean. Feeling better means pain is down or pain is gone. Swelling is down. You can jog without limping. You're not really thinking about it every second. That is symptom relief. And don't get me wrong, symptom relief matters, but it's the lowest bar in sports rehab. Getting better means you're stronger, maybe even stronger than before. You can tolerate full practice loads. Your power output is restored. You can develop force quickly again. You can cut, you can speed up, you can slow down. You can absorb force repeatedly because that's what you need to do in most sports. It means you've built capacity beyond daily life demands. That's resilience. That's return to play. That's durability. But here is the uncomfortable or unfortunate truth. The healthcare system is very reactive. It waits for pain. Pain becomes the entry ticket for care. No pain, no referral. If you don't have pain, you don't need to go see someone. Then you don't get authorization. There's no urgency. And then once the pain drops, then care often stops. It almost sounds like that Pringle jingle. Once you pop, the fun don't stop. But pain, it is truly a bad metric for readiness, especially readiness to return to sport. Pain can tell you that something is irritated, but what it does not tell you is how strong the tissue is, how much load or work can it tolerate. It can't tell you whether you're prepared for 90 minutes of high-intensity sport, whether your quads produce force fast enough to protect your knee. I really like this analogy. Pain is like a smoke alarm. We can wave towels around it to get it to turn off or take the batteries out, but then we never check the outlet or check the wires, check what's smoking because we just want the annoying noise to stop. And once it does, we just go on and keep living in the house, ignoring what's burning. Or maybe we put out the fire, but we don't address those faulty wires that caused the fire in the first place. Here's what happens over and over again. This is the pain cycle that I'm always talking about. Athlete gets hurt. Their pain spikes. They rest or they get some treatment. Pain decreases. Then they return to the amount of work or the level of play or exercise that they did before. That load of sport exceeds their tolerance because they haven't built it back up, and then the pain returns. That is the injury cycle. And when we only chase pain relief, we stay inside that loop, and it just happens again and again and again. Here's an example, a sports analogy for you. Imagine your car engine overheats, but you turn off the warning light. Did you fix the engine, or did you just silence the symptom? Pain relief without restoring capacity is just turning off that warning light. So let's talk about, what does it actually take to get better? Getting better requires some objective criteria. It's not just, it feels okay. It's not, I think I'm ready. It's not, just go back to sport and just take it slow. Just start slow and work back up. What getting better actually entails is strength testing, symmetry testing, so testing one side versus the other, testing your power, getting gradual exposure to practice intensity or exercise volume, getting back to a full practice participation before you jump back into sport. If you tore your ACL and your quad strength is still off by 25%, you are not ready, even if it doesn't hurt. If your calf can't produce force repeatedly late in the game, you are not ready, even if it doesn't hurt. Pain-free does not mean performance ready. Now, why this happens, and again, this isn't about blaming any PTs or even PT companies for the most part. I say for the most part, because if you get people in leadership that are money or performance driven instead of patient driven, then they're part of the problem too. But I'll assume for this that everyone has a pure heart and wants the best for injured people. It's about the system design, really the whole healthcare system as dictated by insurance companies. Insurance reimburses episodes of care. Clinics are volume driven across the industry because insurance companies will do whatever they can to pay out as little as possible for care. That means making PTs jump through hoops to get visits authorized, documentation out the wazoo, more reevaluations to submit for visits. And year after year, insurance pays out less reimbursement to PT companies. So the only way to offset that is to see more visits. Just a quick caveat here. When I worked in the traditional setting, my bosses or management never placed any pressure on me to hit a certain number of visits. There's an industry standard that they wanted us to aim for so that they could function and operate, but I didn't have any pressure placed on me. But I know for a fact that is not the case. For a lot of people, it was not the case for many of my friends and other clinics or other companies. I know there are PTs out there seeing 80, 90, 100 plus patient visits per week. But again, the insurance company's goal is to pay as little as possible. So when you're out of pain and able to take care of yourself, they stop approving visits. They care if you can put your socks and shoes on, not your shin guards and cleats. There are wonderful, highly skilled PTs in the traditional setting. This isn't a setting argument, but you have to know the tool and what you're using for rehab. When I was in that setting, I could not see 60 patients a week and manage their workload in the gym or on the field and progress them perfectly once they were out of pain, because pain is the driver of care in that setting. I could be the most skilled PT, but I would still be limited by the system when it comes to safely getting people back to their sport or exercise in the way that I know is sustainable. Objective return to sport testing takes time. It takes some equipment and follow-up, progressive overload. And once pain is manageable, it's considered successful. But sport, and exercise for that matter, isn't daily life. Sport especially is unpredictable. It's high force, it's high velocity, repeated change of speed. And if you only rehab to daily life capacity, return to sport is going to make that known very quickly. So here's the mindset shift that I would challenge athletes and active individuals to consider. Stop asking, does it hurt? And start asking, can it handle what I'm about to demand of it? That's a completely different question. And it changes how you train, how long you rehab, how you progress, when and how you return. If you're a parent, here's what you should be asking. What percentage strength are we at compared to the other side? Has my child's power been tested? How should we progress practice volume? What is the plan once the pain is gone? if there isn't a plan beyond pain, you're on that feel better path. There's nothing wrong with wanting relief. I get it. Pain is frustrating. But if your goal is long-term resilience to injury and improved performance, if your goal is staying on the field, if your goal is durability, then relief is just step one. It's not the finish line. So I'll ask you again, do you want to feel better or do you want to get better? Because one ends when pain goes away, the other ends when you're stronger than you were before. That's going to do it for today's episode of the Higher Powered Podcast. Thanks to everybody for listening. If you're looking for ways to connect, you can always find my information in the show notes or find me on Instagram at Higher Power Sports PT. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.
That's a wrap for today's episode of the Higher Powered Podcast, presented by Higher Powered Sports PT. We hope you gained valuable insights on how to stay strong, move better, and prevent injury, all backed by expert knowledge in sports physical therapy and athletic training. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. Your support helps us bring more evidence-based tips and strategies to active individuals just like you. For more resources or to connect with us, head over to hpsportspt.com. That's hpsportspt.com. Remember, you've got the power to perform at your best. Keep training smarter, recovering faster, and living stronger. Just a reminder that the content shared in this podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. It should not be considered medical advice. Always consult with a qualified healthcare professional before making any changes to your health or treatment plan. Thanks for tuning in. We hope to see you next time on the Higher Powered Podcast.